ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रम् अथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। I must tell you that we are presently going through a very important portion of Chāndogya Upanishad. In 9 sections, namely from the 8th section to the 16th section, we have the occurrence of the Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, in every one of them. Why do we have Tattvamasi coming 9 times in the same chapter? It is not repetition without a reason. Every time the father Uddalaka conveys to the son Shvetaketu, dear Shvetaketu, there is something extremely subtle which people miss out, which overwhelming majority of humanity simply do not see. It's such an open secret and yet a top secret. That subtlety is the oneness of all creation. That subtlety is the principle or truth called Brahman, and you are that. Tattvam Asi. Every time Uddalaka brings it, he actually introduces a new drishtanta, a new illustration, a metaphor or a simile or even an akhyayika, a quick little story. And through them, it's not just for literature, for some kind of decoration, alankara of literature. Please do not think that all these multiple examples are literary embellishments. Like on a crown, you put more and more gems, so the crown looks more charming. Here, there may be some charm, we do not deny, but each of the illustrations answers a particular doubt that had arisen in Shvetaketu to begin with, that very much can arise in any student of the Vedanta. I began saying we are going through a very important portion, for let me tell you seriously, we should never do lip service to Vedanta. We should never say, I know it all now. Now all I need is practice. No. In Jnana Marga, preoccupation or obsession with practice is laughed at. With due respect to various meditational practices that one may take up, with due respect to the importance of our learning to calm our mind, hold back our impulses, not to fall for kama and krodha, not to be hijacked by raga and dvesha, with due respect to certain practices which help us do all this, really the most wonderful thing that will achieve all these by the side. Like side effects, you will have self-control, you will have emotional maturity, you will have greater calmness of disposition, you will have clearer insight into things. 100 such things will come as side products if your understanding of the Vedanta is totally clear. Therefore, Jnanam. Jnanam means Spashtam Jnanam, clear understanding. Do not say, I know Vedanta says Brahman and I are one. Those words do not mean much. What have you understood by saying that? What you said is true. Brahman and your own true nature are one. But if you have truly understood it, then the Jnana Yoga makes the claim that you actually do not need any practice at all. On the contrary, or in another sense, practice is no practice, rather, it comes to you spontaneously. Like Sri Ramakrishna, already having tremendous devotion to God, looked at a flight of birds and went into samadhi. He would look at some clouds and would go into certain ecstatic condition. For any reason, any stimulus, or as the idiom goes, at the drop of a hat, Sri Ramakrishna would go to certain transcendental state. Do not be too glamorous about it. In the Jnana Yoga, as you get tremendous clarity about the central teaching of the Vedanta, in countless situations and scenarios, even when you have certain health problem, some financial adversity, some relationships have gone haywire, let us say. Amidst all these ups and downs of human life, thanks to your clear jnanam, you will be able to see everything in a totally different light. So to quickly give you an advance information of how these drishtantas have been given, in the eighth section which we saw in the last class, though I did not cover all the mantras, there were 7 mantras and I taught only 6th and 7th. But if you read even just the simple mantras or translation, you will find that in a general way, Uddalaka stated in section 8 of this chapter 6 that in a number of scenarios, with the penetrating insight, you and I can recognize that the gross merges into the subtle merges again to something more subtle, and everything finally is dissolved in Para Devata. Parasyam Devatam is the expression which is a reference to Sat. And then he calls that Sat to be Anima, the divine subtle essence. And then he says Tattvamasi, Saha Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. So the eighth section, which is the first among the 9 sections giving Mahavakya Tattvamasi, the approach was rather general. Now, in this class, we will be seeing an illustration of honey bees gathering nectar from various flowers which belong to various different trees and bringing them all together. And then there is the formation of honey. And once honey is formed, the nectar from this tree and the nectar from that tree, etc., all merge, and they, in a manner of saying, do not know from which tree they have come. And more specifically, they, because of the oneness that has come about in honey, they simply do not even recognize that we are in that oneness. There is tremendous, blissful silence, so to say. Honey is representative in this illustration, which we shall now take up in detail. It is indicative, it is representative of deep sleep. Sushupti. In Sushupti, every one of us is with Sat, Sat Chit Ananda. In that expression, whatever Sat means, we are with that, nothing more, nothing less. Pure Sat, pure existence. And because of that ekata, ekatvam, there is no recognition. Because in order to recognize, there has to be a duality. You and something that you recognize. You and an object that you perceive. You go to a room with dim light. You are not able to see many things. But if there is some huge object, maybe another corner of that hall, there is an elephant moving its trunk, you recognize, oh, there's something big there. But suppose there is no light at all. You neither recognize an elephant nor recognize an ant on the floor, nor will you see your own color of the clothes you are wearing, and so on. Likewise, though this is not darkness, every illustration has some limitations. Deep sleep is where there is no duality, and therefore one does not know one is with the pure self. We'll get back to it, but to quickly give you a preview, in the next section, which is the 10th khanda, let me call this the third khanda, if you count just the 9 khandas where Tatvamasi appears. In the third khanda, rivers flowing into an ocean is the illustration. In the fourth khanda, the illustration is how, with an axe, if we were to cut a tree on top, cut a tree in the middle, cut a tree at the bottom, the tree, unless you uproot it, would stay alive. And there is an insight given to us through that example of a tree being cut by an axe, an insight of what is most essentially our existence. Rest of it is details. In the fifth out of the 9 khandas, again a tree is taken, a banyan tree, and the seed of a banyan tree is split, again split, till Shvetaketu is unable to see any further detail. He didn't have a microscope, and for this purpose, no microscope is needed. One just has to understand that as we go deeper, things are so subtle. From that subtlety comes this gross universe. In the sixth illustration, Udake Lavanam, some salt is put in water and it dissolves. First it appears that this water is normal water. You don't imagine it is salty water. But take a little from the top, take a little from the middle, take a little from the bottom of that bucket, let us say. It's all salty. Likewise, when we do Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, what was not clear to us before becomes very clear. Then there is the illustration in the 7th. A man is kidnapped from the country called Gandhara. He is kidnapped and maybe out of the country or in the country itself, far away to some distant corner. He is taken all the while blindfolded and he is just left there. Maybe after robbing him of valuables which were on his person. And then he says, oh my God, where have I come? I wish to go back to Gandhara Desha from where I am. And then some friends, or not friends really, some kind people in that area guide him, go in this direction. And that is given in the 7th of the 9 illustrations to indicate the importance of a competent teacher. Acharyavan Purusho Veda appears in that section, but that section also finally ends with Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. And 8, there is specifically the illustration of somebody having high fever, Upatapi. Tapa means temperature. Upatapi, somebody with high fever, and alas, he dies. And as he dies, how his grosser faculties vanish first, subtler faculties vanish later, and at the end, from his own point of view, he is with Sat. And that Sat, that pure existence, without division of names and forms, is what is in all this creation. And you are that, O Shvetaketu. Last but not the least, in the 9th of the 9 sections giving Tattvamasi, otherwise the 16th of the entire chapter, 16th Khanda, Shodashaha Khandaha, the illustration or the little story of somebody had stolen something, somebody who was responsible for certain theft is caught, and whether he really is at fault or he is falsely accused is tested through a very strange method. He is asked to touch a red hot iron axe. If he is telling a lie, when he touches that axe, parashu, he touches the parashu, he gets burnt. If he is telling the truth, he is just accused, but he is not the one who stole, nothing would happen to him. So there was some such acts probably with them. It has, we will explain the scenario when we come to that 16th khanda. But there too, indirectly, it is pointed out that there is a certain truth. And as Mundaka Upanishad says, Satyameva Jayate na Anrutam. Someone who is with the truth realizes the ultimate truth. So we have all these 9 illustrations or upakhyanas, all of them serving to clear different doubts that are possible in a student's mind. We will now get down to specifically the 9th section. Let's open the title slide for this purpose, where we have a selected set of 3 or 4 words, not much, because that is when we identify the crux of the matter. Crux of the matter for this particular class is how, when you and I are in deep sleep, really they talk about avastatraya, 3 states. Those 3 really are reducible to only 2 states. How? Jagrat and Swapna are all one only, where there are names and forms, where there is a perceiver and a perceived, seer and the seen, smeller and the smelled. There is a duality, where there are names and forms, that where there is such duality, that is waking or dream, no difference. Waking is as unreal as dream, or dream is as real as waking. From a higher point of view, waking and dream are both 100% on par. But you and I remain very conditioned by waking state. And even after reading Mandukya Karika, this or that, so we again return to a Jagrat-centric point of view. Waking is real and dream is as though something secondary, 1 or 2 notches below waking in the scale of reality. So There are two states only. One is inclusive of waking and dream. The second is deep sleep. The business of Turiya is just a passing concept introduced and then demolished. There is no Turiya really. There are only two states, and then in those two states, there is just one truth. So the title slide says, in deep sleep, every time we are in deep sleep, we are one with truth. We are with Sat. In the Chāndogya, especially several times, as we will see in this section also, the Upanishad mantra says, referring to Sushupti, Sati Sampadya. That means reaching or getting into Sat. There is no mention of Avidya Sahite Sati or Vasana Sahite Sati. The presence of Vasana, the presence of Avidya, presence of some causal or original ignorance, etc., is not said. Sati Sampadya. And this is a little mind boggling, but here and there we have been explaining this. Look at this title slide. Though one with truth, no one gets enlightened there. No one knows one is with purest truth. Why doesn't one get enlightened if it is the purest truth? Actually, that calls for a review of what is enlightenment. In deep sleep, there is no need for enlightenment. Enlightenment is needed in the waking state. Error in perception is in the waking. And in waking you do Shravana, in waking you do Manana, in waking you inquire and eliminate that error, that asamyak darshana. That is all that is needed. But we are so fond of imagining that we need to do something in deep sleep. It's like in some children's stories. You want to kill a demon, and the demon's prana is not here. Whatever you do to the demon here will not kill him, will not make him dead. And where is his prana? Prana Pakshi. It's actually across 7 seas. In some island, you got to go over there. On a tree, there is a bird, and you strangle that bird. Then this demon here in Bangalore or in San Jose dies. So if you have to cross 7 seas for it. Like that, we imagine there is some Mula Avidya sitting somewhere. Really, the Avidya is right here and now in your seeing, wrong perception. So this mantra simply says, let me read the Sanskrit first. Imaha sarvaha prajaha, all these living beings, you and I, Sati Sampadya, though we are in purest Sat, pure Sat, Sampadya, though we have reached there, no viduhu. We do not know. What do we not know? Sati Sampadhyamahe. The Sanskrit puts it in first person plural, Uttama Purusha Bahuvachana, Sampadhyamahe. But in English translation, since we began with all these living beings, third person plural. So we say, do not know that they are one with pure existence. They don't know they are one with pure existence. We don't know that we are one with pure existence. So how do we understand this? In order that we may know how we have come to the pure I, there has to be a duality. In deep sleep, there is no duality, and that's not the fault of deep sleep. That's not a shortcoming. That's not a blemish with the grandeur of deep sleep. Therefore, we go to the second slide where the detailed mantra is given. Let's see the second slide where we have Father, the Father, Uddalaka, very lovingly addressing his son once more as Somya, oh, one of great, pleasing disposition, your attention, your eagerness, your brightness, the joy in your eyes, all this make me teach you with even more enthusiasm, the father seems to say. Yata Somya, Madhukritaha Nistishkanti. Shankara says, Nistishkanti here means Nishpadayanti. They make. Madhukritaha is a word that means makers of Madhu. They are the honey bees. Madhu is honey. Madhu is honey, and even the slide is soaked in honey now. From above and below, you see honey in this slide. I won't be surprised if some of you have already your mouth watering. Please shift your attention from the decoration of the slide to the teaching given here. These bees, honey bees, called here Madhukritaha, Madhukrit, Madhukritau, Madhukritaha, Nana Atyayanam, it's a compound actually, from different destinations. Atya is Gati, Nana Gati Nam. So one tree perhaps was in the northern direction, another tree was in the south, a third one in the east, the fourth one was in the west, and so on. One was on the hill, another was by the river. Nana Atyayanam, Vrikshanam, Rasan, nectar from all of them, these bees bring. Samavaharam, that means making them all come together. Ekatam rasam gamayan. Ekatam rasam. When they become one essence, very homogeneous, that's when we call it honey. Earlier it was the nectar, makaranda in the pushpas. Now they are no more makarandas, they are madhu. Here the English translation goes, just as bees make honey and to do so collect nectar from flowers. They collect nectar from flowers of different trees and bringing all that together. Samaharam, samavaharam kritva, or samavaharam kurvantaha, let's say. What do they do? The English says, make them one essence. The illustration suffers from the limitation that you may think from the physics or chemistry point of view, maybe there's a chemistry over there. The different chemicals in the different nectar, they become one. A different product is created. We know that when milk becomes curd, it's a chemical change. Whereas if you simply put some dry things together and mix them, they are physically mixed, but they keep their identity. Both the examples of physical change and chemical change in modern science don't measure up to the pointer here to deep sleep. In deep sleep, actually, the differences vanish. In pure awareness, there is not a trace of, not even iota of any of the gunas of the waking ego, dream ego, and its problems, its strengths, and so on. So here we are. The illustration gives to us the understanding that differences vanish. So how amazing! Every night and a couple of times during the day also, you and I are with undifferentiated pure self. Now in the third slide, there is a bit of an illustration or a bit of an expansion of this. For simplicity, I cut it down to just two kinds of animals. The actual mantra gives 8 kinds of animals. Oh, that will come in the fourth slide. In the third slide, what I already said in English has been put. Te yatha tatra na vivekam labante. What was nectar before and what now is honey does not know, in a manner of saying, from which tree it had come. Amushya aham vrikshasya rasah asmi. Amushya aham vrikshasya rasah asmi iti evameva kalu na vivekam labante evameva kalu. In that way, ima sarva praja. When you go to deep sleep, I go to deep sleep, she goes to deep sleep, he goes to deep sleep. In that deep sleep, there is no distinction at all. The king's sushupti and the pauper's sushupti, the beggar's sushupti, the sushupti of Miss Universe, and the sushupti of a terminally ill patient are all one. In sushupti, none of those descriptions of the waking individual self shows its head. The English translation says, they, the nectars from different trees, cannot distinguish there. I am from such and such a tree, and so on. In the same manner, O dear, these living beings, having reached the oneness of pure existence, Ekata, which was there in the earlier mantra, Ekatam, Sat Sampadya, do not clearly know that they are one with pure existence. Once more, in order to know, there should be mind in operation. There is no mind in deep sleep. There is no thought in deep sleep. There is no division of the knower and known in deep sleep. And now, in the fourth slide, we have this description. Suppose not I talked of a king and a pauper, a beggar and Miss Universe and so on. The Upanishad mentions some 8 kinds of animals in the forest. We have put te iha. By Sandhi it becomes ta iha. Vyagrova, Simhova. If you have original Chāndogya in your hand, you have Vagrova, Simhova, Vrakova, Varahova, Kitova, Patangova, Ganshova, Mashakova. Va means or. So a tiger or a lion or a wolf or a wild jungle pig or a worm or a butterfly or a mosquito. Danusha is some other insect that bites you. Mashaka is specifically mosquito. Or a range of animals, creatures. All of them, let's say, when they go to sleep, they are the same pure awareness. They who were a tiger, past tense. Shankara in his commentary clarifies. The mantra uses the word bhavanti, and he says in this context bhavanti means babhuvuhu. Babhuvuhu is past tense. So we too took the liberty to put in brackets. They who were a tiger, a lion, etc., before going to deep sleep, whatever they were, in deep sleep, no distinction in their own experience. And when deep sleep ends, to come back to waking, they become the same. A lion comes back to being a lion, tiger comes back to being a tiger, etc. This is the Maya at play. This is how the waking mind of you and me gets heavily into believing that this plurality, nanatva, is real. But Upanishad says, Neha nanasti kinchana. There is no plurality at all. Nana atra na iha asti. Iha means atra. So the same again. But the central issue in this khanda is not so much about going into deep sleep and coming back from deep sleep. In deep sleep, there is no recognition of the pure self. So deep sleep neither causes enlightenment nor holds you back from enlightenment. The question of enlightenment is invalid in deep sleep. Now, the most important shloka comes as the fifth one. We will make concluding comments on that. And that, incidentally, is no different from what you found in the last class, for that matter, in all the nine khandas that we are examining. The final word is this mantra. Saya eshaha anima. Anu means subtle. Anima is subtleness. Aitadatmyam idam sarvam. This is a complex compound. To put it in a simple translation, idam sarvam. All these hills and rivers, men and women, galaxies or planets, whatever. All these, I took the liberty to put it in plural also in the translation. All these have this anima, this truth as their self, as their inner truth. A wolf, if it were to, for even a moment, pay attention to its own pure existence, I, the I of the wolf, the I, the pure I of you and me, the I of a worst criminal, the I of a liberated saint. The pure I is one, and Vedanta is all about helping us see that pure I. Ramana Maharshi used to say things which were so much in line with what we are studying now. He used to say to visitors or his students, you see, you go to deep sleep so often, all the time, every night, and more than that too. That is Sushupti. Do you have these problems there? Do you feel superior to somebody? Do you feel you are a failure when in deep sleep? Now you are complaining. My life is going to waste. I have been a failure, whatever. Do you have that in deep sleep? The visitor would say, no. In deep sleep, I don't have any of those ideas of being successful or a failure and so on. Right. Maharshi Ramana then would say, try to be in that kind of self-knowledge in Jagrat also. He coined an expression, Jagrat Sushupti. Next time you feel low, remember Ramana Maharshi's teaching. Thoughts are creating a sense of my being worthless. I am feeling low. I am worthless. I am good for nothing. I have messed up my own life and I have messed up lives of people. Such thoughts come to everyone at times. Say to yourself, did I have these thoughts a while ago when I was deep asleep? No. What was my being at that time? It was quietude. Let me trust Ramana Maharshi, if not the Upanishads. That is the truth, and this is a play of mind. That is the truth, this is a play of mind. You may say, does it not or will it not make me irresponsible? No. On the contrary, such Vedanta contemplation can give you such relief. And when your mind is relieved of the turmoil, you won't become irresponsible. Once you are relieved of the turmoil in your mind, you feel so relaxed and say, Ah, oh, okay. The problem is this work needs to be done. Let me see what I can do about it. I have to make a call to so and so. Hello, how are you? Can you give me a lakh of rupees on loan? You ask, with great sense of relief. So Vedanta doesn't make you irresponsible. It gives you a certain deep relaxation, and then you will be more responsible than ever before, because a mind that is refreshed and renewed and given as though some new energy is a powerful tool in dealing with situations, in taking honest and bold decisions. Saya eshaha anima aitadatmyamidam sarvam tat satyam saha atma. Call it neuter tat or call it masculine saha, no problem. In Vishnu Sahasranama, many names are in masculine, many are in neuter too. Tattvam asi Shvetaketu. Oh, my son Shvetaketu, you are the truth. Having said this, we will quickly see a couple of comments that I may want to make from Shankara Bhashya. In Shankara Bhashya, though more or less I have said those points in simple English, but a little bit of reference to it. So we have this ninth Khanda. Yatha Somya Madhu Madhukrito Nistishtanti, that's what you have been seeing. And connecting it to, to what we discussed in last class, he says, Shvetaketu may have a doubt. Ahani, that means every night, Sat Sampadya, even though we are, as said here, with the pure self, Sat Sampannaha Smaha iti Kasmat na viduhu. Why don't we know that we are in the purest self? Therefore, Drishtanta is given. Just as in honey, the nectar from this flower or that flower has no way to recognize that I am now without any distinguishability. There is silence. There is no process of recognition. So that's the connection that he gives. And then there is the interesting comment he has made. Yes, this I think I will say and conclude. He has made a very interesting statement in the last mantra. The mantra says, Sayayeshaha anima aitadatmamidam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattvamasi shvetaketu. The whole mantra has a couple of more words. The son asks the father, tell me more, because another doubt rises in his mind. So to answer that, Uddalaka goes on, Bhuyeva ma bhagavan vidnapayatu, tell me more. Tatha somya, oh sure, oh my dear one, I will tell you more. That is there in the mantra. But in Shankara's commentary, he says, by and large, all these living beings who go into deep sleep and then come back to waking state, you see, uh, they again have that error operating in their mind. They, of course, are in deep in the homogeneous awareness. So he adds an expression. One is the reference to the 99.999% common folks, among whom there are Vedanta scholars also who have not got it fully. Then yetu itaha anye, he talks of a few, maybe one in a million. Who are they? Yetu itaha anye sat satyatma abhisandaha. In their waking state, they attend Vedanta class, they reflect on the Guru's words, Satya Abhisandaha. They then contemplate on the truth. They then inquire into untruth so that it is eliminated. And Shankara beautifully says, Yam anubhavam sat atmanam pravishya na avartante. So there is an enlightened human being which you and I could also be when we conduct sharp inquiry whenever we get time. That enlightened one, na avartante. So in that person's case, a Jivan Mukta is talked about. In the Jivan Mukta's case, not because of some magic that happened in deep sleep. No magic happens, no magic is necessary. In deep sleep, that total freedom is given as a free gift to you. The difference is in waking. This one in a million case, thanks to the Shravana Manana they have done, na avartante. When they are again operating through body and mind, moving with people, na avartante. They do not get back to that identification. Ah, how is it they don't get back? Because this anima, this anubhava, this sat, they have reached it in waking. Therefore, this great statement, Anye sat satyatma abhisandaha yam anubhavam sadatmanam pravishya na avartante jiva bhavam punaha na apadyante. See, so that contemplation on the pure self in waking state makes the whole difference. And every Tattvamasi in these 9 sections follows a reiteration. Saya Esha Anima. So right now, as you are hearing this, look within. Is there an anima in me? Is there certain subtle truth in me, about me, of me? Am I that subtle truth? Make your mind a bit quieter. Even as some identification. All this is good to hear, but yesterday I lost 3 lakhs of rupees because of some fraud. I am so agitated. The thought comes, I am the loser of 3 lakhs of rupees. So I am the loser of money. I am the winner of some other thing. Winner, loser, successful. Let your Vedanta help you tackle that. To see it as a play of thought. No matter what lakhs and lakhs of rupees I lose, no matter what trophies and prizes I receive, makes no difference to my truth, truth of my existence. This way, even as apparently much is happening in life, you will be able to arrive, as Shankara describes it. Anyes, there are some 1 in a million. Why don't you and I try to be that? By behaving more maturely, by going about Vedanta also in a mature fashion. Thus, Acharya Shankara's comments here and there are extremely helpful for us to do higher sadhana. Rather than just repeating some words like parrots and then remaining the same as ever before, attached to money and woman and cinema and ice cream and this and that. No. If we contemplate on Shankara's words, we will be able to bear Vedanta in our understanding on a higher plane. Then we will see what the difference is all that can happen. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shivaya. So we take a look at the chat box, watching on YouTube, Once you log in, you will be able to write some questions or comments or anything else. Hari Om and Pranam, etc. And then you have Namaskara. Uh, Shubh Janmashtami. Yes, yes. Shubh Janmashtami to all of you. Yesterday was Janmashtami for some, today was Janmashtami for some, and today I spoke to some Iyengar lady in Bangalore, and she said, we Iyengars are going to celebrate tomorrow, that is Saturday in India. See, Krishna is always smart. When everybody gets one birthday, he gets three. Some people worshipping him on Thursday, some on Friday, some on Saturday. So we have, yes, Pranam and Hari Om, and message retracted. That's fine. Let me see whether there is any question anywhere. Okay, one of you says, Janmashtamiyaha Subhashayaha to everyone. Beautiful. Sanskrit? Yes. Bhavatyai api Janmashtamiyaha Subhashayaha Asmabihi Uchyante. We tell you also greetings. Yes. Okay. So no questions or comments. You contemplate, and Vedanta simplified belief in your own goodness. That is Vedanta. This anima, this sat, this pure self is nothing but your own unflinching goodness. The goodness in you that doesn't waver no matter what life gives to you. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.